You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. Of course, that is the Filipino wrecking machine. Mark Munoz sitting at home. His wife and children in the background. He actually has his kids cooking for him right now, which
Yep,
is
look, there they go.
that's great during training camp. Do they cook
Yeah.
for you all the time, or is it just a new thing that started?
Man, it happens all the time, man. This is normal life. Kids are, the kids would be kids,
You're not you're not worried about the mess in the kitchen or the burns or anything like that going on when they're working on hot stuff?
Nah, man. They're good, man. They're good.
What's the best thing that they cook?
They're actually baking a cake right now.
Are you allowed to have cake? Is that on your diet right now?
Nah, I can't have cake, man. Come on now.
I'm just checking.
I gotta be disciplined, man.
So they're making a cake that you can't have.
Correct.
That's loving. That's caring. A little bit of extra torture makes you a little more determined for this fight then, because you got this great food around. You can't touch it.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about Lyoto Machida. He's your opponent on UFC Fight Night 30, coming up here on October 26th, just a little while away. How much has Lyoto changed over his career? Because I know you've been a fan of MMA for a long time, so I know you've watched him before you ever signed to fight him. How much have you seen him change over the last couple of years?
He's changed quite a bit, man. He's improved. He's improved tremendously. I mean, with wrestling and you've seen him take people down. I mean, the guy's been good. I mean, not just the fact that he's very elusive and very he's just amazing at counter striking, but at the same time, he's a great mixed martial artist, man. So he's got great jiu-jitsu too. So I'm just looking to go out there and make the fight go the way I want it to go.
Now, it seems like to me whenever I watch Lyoto, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you watch tape, he runs away, makes you run into his punches, he makes you run into his kicks, he's running away, and then when you engage, when you finally catch him, that's when he's most dangerous with his takedowns. Because when we saw against Henderson, he wins that first round by getting a quick sweep and putting Dan down on the ground, with like 5 or 6 seconds left in the round. And ends up winning the round because he just, all of a sudden, when Dan got a hold of him, he was so happy he got a hold of him. He's like, oh, it's finally in my space. It's finally where I should be. Dan relaxed for half a second. Do you see the same thing that Lyoto's most dangerous when you actually, that quick 10 seconds when you actually finally catch him?
Yeah, that's actually where he's very, very effective there. I mean, he backs up so that you can actually come into him. And then actually when you actually try to strike him, he then counter strikes you and then rushes you and forces you in a bad position. So that's where he's very good at. And I've had the opportunity to spar him and train with him, and there's just things that I feel that are going to work, and I know that I know with this fight, I can't be going into his trap with rushing in haphazardly and just going in for the kill. I can't do that.
Was it a little bit of frustrating when you first started training camp, getting ready for Lyoto, knowing that you're going to have to slow the pace down and not chase him as much as you naturally want to chase somebody? You have to be a lot less aggressive. Was it tough making that change a little bit?
Yeah, it is. I actually, during sparring, I was having to be more patient. More patient and set up my takedowns a little bit more strategically than just going in there and trying to throw haymakers and shoot a shot. I can't do that anymore. So now at this level, for me, I got to be able to use my pedigree to its advantage and be able to use my striking that I've developed and become a more complete mixed martial artist.
And that says a lot to you about your growth, because now you've learned a new skill set that after this fight, you'll be able to use any time. Actually, in the middle of a round, you can change pace now and make someone chase you a little bit more, be a lot less aggressive. But during this training camp, when you're trying to figure it out, did your coaches have to yell at you and your training partners have to yell at you quite a bit to, Mark, you got to slow down? And sometimes when you got done with the round, didn't you kind of feel like, I really didn't do anything? Like I did nothing this round because I couldn't chase.
Yeah. I mean, me, I'm aggressive, and I like to put on a show, and when there's not when there's not any sparks flying, I feel like I need to do more. That's just who I am. Just I mean, coming from the sport of wrestling, that there. I feel that there needs to be action, and then if there's not action, we get called for stalling.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're not doing anything, you're stalling, and that's my mindset. So I really had to take myself back and been able to be more disciplined and be more patient and set up my takedowns and set up all the stuff that I actually want to do and not do it as aggressive as I normally do it.
Now you said you always you feel like guys are stalling if they're not being aggressive, not chasing you down. That goes into the entertainment factor too. That your fights, win, lose, or draw, it's exciting because you're always in somebody's face, you're always chasing them down. You're so mild mannered and you're such a polite gentleman outside the cage. Do you sometimes find it's tougher for you to get sponsors and get the notoriety that you should get because you're just not a guy that sits there in front of the camera and talks like a Chael Sonnen or you get like Travis Brown now. These guys just start talking and they get fights because they're
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, in this business, that's how it is, and I do have sponsorships, and I'm thankful for those that actually are helping me along the way, and they're they're what I want to do is I want to appeal to the whole population, not just the niche population that MMA brings. Obviously, I want to be able to leave a lasting impact on people, and the more impact that I can have with a bigger company that's able to impact a wider target market, then that's who I want to be able to go with. So I've been able to get some sponsorships, man, and it's been going well. In this business, you're as good as your last fight.
Yeah, and your last fight against Tim Boach, what a
Yeah,
way to come back. I mean, after especially because I know your story, we talked about a lot in our last interview. The depression that hit after the loss to Chris Weidman, the weight gain, the problems that started spiraling around, and how you came out of it. And all of a sudden, now to see you fight Tim Boach was like, wow, what a that was better than the Mark that fought before. Like you were a better guy all the way around. Are you
yeah.
still finding that balance? You're still able to kind of keep life and the Rain Training Center, which you run and control, and still make training camp, and still everything's still balanced out very well.
Yeah, I've been blessed with a great team around me. I've been blessed with a lot of people that have been helping me out, and my wife actually is very instrumental in that. She's the backbone of Rain Training Center. I mean, she basically helps me along with a lot of the business decisions there, and a good friend of mine, Riley Ross, just came to the Rain Training Center, met him through the sport of wrestling, and I can trust him with just about anything. So it's been going well. With what I had to go through. I mean, I don't wish that upon anybody, but I don't take back anything in my life that happened to me. I mean, that was something that was very real, something that I think a lot of people struggle with,
Yeah.
and that's for me. I had to go through that to refine myself and make myself better, so to speak. So, I truly believe your life experiences shape and mold you into the person you are today and in the future. And I needed to go through that to find a better perspective for myself when it comes to training and when it comes to family, when it comes to running a business. So yeah, so a lot of things are a lot better now. I definitely had to change my perspective and do things a little bit different because I heard this: if you don't change, you won't change. So
Right.
I needed to change a lot of things up in my life, both professionally and personally. So, and those things I did change, and things are a lot better now.
Do you find yourself leaning on more people now, allowing yourself to lean on more people for more help as opposed to trying to do everything yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you got to delegate, and that was something that I struggled with, and I still struggle with, and my wife, she's become a lot better at that now than I have, and that's something that a lot of good business owners do. They're able to delegate and create responsibilities and expectations for their employees, so that they know what's expected of them. They know what they need to achieve, and that's exactly what I needed to do. And now it's we're at a place where it's a lot better.
Last question, Mark, before I let you out of here and go stare at that cake that you can't eat that your kids are making.
Yeah.
This is Lyoto Machida's first time down to 85. Do you think, having experience with weight cutting your entire life, do you think this first time down to 85 is going to be a tough weight cut for him and tough for him to recover?
He's always been a light heavyweight. There are times when he's weighed in at 199, 201, 202, and he's never been a big 205 pounder, so to speak. So I think with him cutting down to 185, I think it's going to be easier for him than a regular size 205 pounder. But having said that, you and I both know that the last 10 pounds it can be very hard to get off, and it can be detrimental to your performance on how you take it off. So, I'm able to sniff that out. If he's looking more fatigued than he was in the first round, then in the second, then I'm going to increase the pace. I'm going to be able to use that to my advantage, and I know how to cut weight. I've gotten to the point where I had to change that too in my past fights with weight cutting, because if I had the perspective of I'm always going to make weight regardless of how much I am, I'm always going to make weight. But now I've got it down to science where I'm eating the right things, I'm drinking the right things, I'm eating at the right times, and I'm able to know what my body is capable of doing without being detrimental to my performance. So I mean, that's some of the things I needed to change, and you saw it during the Boch fight that I was very, very. I could have went 2 more rounds after that, if not 3 more rounds.
You looked lighter when you came in, and you looked quicker when you in that first round against Boch than I've seen you before in the past, a lot. But you're the same body size, if that makes sense. So whatever you're doing, it worked absolutely.
Yeah, and I had to back my training up with science. I mean, that's basically what I did, and now I know what I'm capable of doing even more so than in the past.
Mark, thanks for taking a couple minutes with us here at MMA Oddsbreaker. Have fun against Lyoto. It's gonna be a great main event. Like that fight, when they announced it, I'm really excited for this fight because it's two, and on paper, it's two different styles: a very aggressive guy versus a very elusive guy, but a guy that doesn't relax at any moment versus a guy that's waiting for you to relax so he can catch you. So this is gonna be, for me, is an interesting fight to see how it all pulls off.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
All right, Mark. Have a great time looking at that cake and not eating it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it, man.
See you, bud.